8 months ago, our vintage camper van broke down and we decided to convert my childhood playhouse into a tiny house. Why, you ask? Well, we were too broke to keep up with monthly repairs on our old van, so we had no choice but to return home and rethink our next steps. We converted this tiny house that sits on my family's property and have been living in it full-time for nearly 6 months now. Fall has come and gone quickly here, and the winter cold is swiftly approaching. Living here has allowed us to continue saving up as we did during van life, before we had to deal with a lot of old van repairs. This opened up the opportunity for us to purchase a new van and renovate it for trips we will take when we need a break from the tiny house. This house not only provided us a place to live, but it also gave me my first garden, which produced a lot of homegrown vegetables and herbs this past summer and fall. As the year comes to an end, we often reflect on the expenses, purchases, and investments we made over the year. In this video, we will be sharing how much it costs us to convert our tiny house and our monthly expenses, so you can get an idea of what it is like for us to live day to day in an unconventional lifestyle. The house is also in desperate need of a deep cleaning. Luckily, it does not take us more than a few hours since the house is so small. We went into this build knowing that we didn't have a lot of money to spend, so a lot of the materials we used were ones we already had or even secondhand. My grandfather kindly supplied all the tools we needed. We also used recycled wood for building purposes and tried our best to not buy new from hardware stores unless absolutely necessary. The tiny house was purchased in the early 2000s when I was a little girl and has been in the family standing sturdy ever since for nearly 3 decades. It cost $4,000 US, and yes, for a playhouse, pretty expensive, but considering it has contributed to my life even up to my adult years, I think it was worth it. The house has undergone some wear and tear, of course, through the weather and animals who have passed through over the years, but there were no leaks, broken boards, or anything while we renovated. Just a few spiders and dust here and there. I'm very thankful that my family kept up with it for all these years. We even repainted it red a couple years ago to bring the life back into it. The materials that make up the bulk of the price are insulation, the flooring, and the ceiling boards. Any screws, nails, and lumber were already available to us from family, and the tiny house had some stored in it as well from past projects. The overall build cost us under $1,000 US, totaling $667.30. I'll round up to an even $700 in case some purchases went astray. Like I said, we were on a very tight budget, so we were motivated and eager to work with what we had, which at the time was all we had. If you are interested in watching us convert the house step by step, we have a tiny house build playlist on our channel that has 15 episodes and a full tour after we first decorated. One of the number one questions we always get is, where do we use the bathroom? We have our own version of an outhouse, which is the bathroom inside the larger house on the property where my family stays. We have access to a full bathroom with a shower and toilet and even laundry facilities. We also have an emergency pop-up toilet stored in the tiny house because you never know. But our system works and is no different than how we lived on the road for 2 years. We will only be discussing our expenses for the tiny house itself and won't get into property payments because that answer can vary depending on where your tiny house is located. We will only be going over our monthly expenses like food, water, and miscellaneous items. We try to save our money as much as we can and wherever we can. We like to practice the Marie Kondo method with everyday things, buying things that truly spark joy. Of course, we aren't perfect and have our moments, but we typically try our best to stick to this. We have had to minimize things we own, prioritizing things we need more than things we want, especially nowadays when so many products are so much more expensive and unaffordable. We try our best to invest in buying and making things that will last a long time, while also being sustainable and as environmentally friendly as we can. Now that we are nearly finished building out our new van, we need to add some final touches. We want some vintage-style doorknobs for all of our cabinets, but they are so pricey when looking online, so we are going to try creating them ourselves with the A1 Mini. This was such a simple and easy way to get our doorknobs without having to spend anything. And the material it's made out of is biodegradable. Santi has also been expanding his art style with character development for our digital illustrations on Patreon. It is much easier to get very specific angles for the characters when you have a model, so he was able to print them out as well. The A1 Mini has been a huge help for our everyday projects. If you are interested in trying out Bambulab's products, visit the link in our description box. Our water system is set up on a foot pump, which means we use 5-gallon water jugs and refill them at water stations for a low cost. We typically use Primo purified water, which is a low-cost, environmentally friendly way to get water regularly. They allow you to bring in your own jugs and fill them up. We prefer this method because not only are we reducing waste, but we are also saving on water, because in order to run the faucet, you have to press on the pump to allow water to flow. 5 gallons of Primo water cost $1.78. In total, we spend about $10 a month on water. We use 2 solar-powered portable power stations for our electricity. When fully charged, they both last about 3 days in the summer and nearly a week in the winter. We are also fortunate enough to be able to run an extension cord from the family house's garage to the tiny house, which allows us to recharge it easier. So in total, we spend $0 on electricity. We didn't spend any money on electricity when living on the road either. We charged our power stations in libraries, malls, rest stops, and also used our solar panels. We typically shop for food once a week because our fridge isn't that big. We may one day upgrade our fridge when we have more money, but at the time, we just use our tiny 16-quart fridge from our previous van build. Fortunately for us, our diet mostly consists of fruits and vegetables, which don't all have to be refrigerated. To lower costs, we shop at discount markets like Aldi and go to budget-friendly produce farms and shops. In total, we spend about $300 a month on food. It seems like a lot, but this also takes into account how high the food costs are here in America now. This does include days when we just don't feel like cooking and have the extra funds to eat out. We use a propane stove for cooking and only ever need to buy 4 containers a month. These cost about $4 to $5 each, totaling between $18 to $20. We love our kitties, but they are quite a big expense as well. Typically, monthly costs for them include food and litter, which amounts to about $40 or less. But if they have vet appointments, they can easily cost close to $300 for the both of them. This includes the appointment and any tests they need done. We are very lucky to have 2 healthy cats. For internet usage, we use T-Mobile and have a hotspot that is connected to our plan. This costs $159 per month. We also have memberships like computer storage, editing softwares, and streaming services. Some of them are included with our phone plan. So in total, we pay about $70 for them all. Good editing softwares aren't cheap anymore, but it's a part of our job, so it is an investment. Any miscellaneous purchases like gas for a vehicle, decor, and even clothing varies each month. We rarely buy clothes because we have what we need. Santi just purchased a few items in our last video after going a long time without purchasing any clothes. But if we ever buy new, we always swap out what we no longer want and donate them. This price will not be the same for everyone, and it's not the same for us each month. But we are estimating that all miscellaneous purchases cost around $300. Of course, our bills lately have been racking up a bit more since converting our new van. It's been a huge investment and we honestly can't wait to be finished, but it will all be worth it. Perhaps we'll share the cost breakdown in a future video. Those who have been here for a while know how rough of a year we have had, and we have been challenged with letting go of our pride and simply asking for help. Our family knows that we are eager to save up, get back on the road, and even invest in our own land. So they have been a huge help with supporting us this year, along with all of you who choose to watch our videos. So thank you very much for your support. In total, we spend about $904 each month, which for 2 people is not bad at all. We are purposefully frugal so that we can pave the way for a more affordable future, while contributing as thoughtfully as we can towards saving the earth. We hope this gives you insight into how we live. It is of course not for everyone, and we are lucky to have support from family while we get ourselves back on our feet. We hope to one day purchase our own property and perhaps even move our tiny house onto it. Anything is possible, and we are excited for the journey. Episode 9 of our Van Build series is now available to watch on our Patreon. Join the Leaping Lima Beans tier and up to watch.